Coach Dessa. She's going to be helping me out today. We're going to be showing you some intro drills to back walkovers and slowly moving our way up to the back walkover. To start, make sure you have a clear area. We don't want anyone getting hurt or running into anything. And if you have a mat, that would be best, just so that if something does happen and you do fall, you have something nice and padded to land on. If not, that's totally fine, because not all these drills really require a mat, but it probably would be better. I want you to check out a different stretching video on our website. We have a bunch in our YouTube channel, so you can use those to stretch, or you can just stretch by yourself, but you do want to make sure that you're nice and loose to start these back walkovers, especially when dealing with your back. So go ahead and stretch, but we are going to get warmed up a little bit. So we're going to start with 20 high knees. So you want to make sure that your knees get super high. You want them to come up to your belly button or higher. So you're going to do 20. And then once you do 20, you're going to do butt kickers. We want to have nice pointed toes, and we want our heels to touch our butts. You want to make sure that your legs aren't coming out to the side. You want to make sure they're going straight back. Again, 20 of those. Awesome. And then we're going to do 20 jumping jacks. One. You want your legs all the way open, your arms all the way open, and coming back together. You want to try and stay on your toes rather than being flat-footed on the ground. Awesome. So once you do 20 of those, we're going to get started with some of our drills. So the first thing I want you to do is just let it on your back and get ready for a bridge. At this point, you guys should be able to do this on the ground. If not, that's totally fine. You can find an elevated surface. Your bed works, maybe a couch. If you have a really sturdy chair, you can do that too. But basically any elevated surface. If you have a mat, you can come outside and use the curb. That works really well too. You just kind of have to gauge your skill level and how high you need that surface to be. For demonstration purposes, we're going to be using the ground, but you can do all of these drills using an elevated surface also. First things first, you're going to push up into your bridge, and you're going to do 10 kicks on both legs. You want to make sure your leg is nice and straight, pointed toes. You don't want to put your foot all the way back on the ground, just have your toe tap, and your shoulders want to be pushed forwards. So you're going to do 10 kicks on both sides. In between any of these exercises, also feel free to rock and roll your back out. You can do a seal stretch, or you can do child's pose, which is where your knees are on the ground, or you're stretching like this. So basically anything you can do to kind of release some of that pressure on your back. Okay, after you do 10 on each leg, you're going to push back up, and you're going to do 10 rocks. The purpose of these rocks is you're going to bring your shoulders forward and back. Notice how Coach Dessa isn't moving really far on this side. She's focusing more on pushing her shoulders that way. So that's what we really want to focus on. It's really important to get your shoulders moving forward rather than having your knees move back. Because having your knees move back isn't going to help with your bridge or your back walkovers. It's really focusing on that shoulder mobility that's going to move those shoulders forward. So you're going to do 10 bridge rocks. Then we're going to combine those. And so you're going to try and do 5 on each leg. You're going to rock and kick your leg at the same time without actually kicking over. So you're going to rock forward, kick, rock forward, kick, rock forward, kick. This is a little hard, so if you want to do this on an elevated surface or kind of break it down to make it into a slower motion, you can do that too. Or you can just stick to doing them separately. Either way, it's really going to help with your back walkovers and your front walkovers. Okay, next thing you're going to do is we're just going to have you do bridge kickovers. Again, if you don't have this on the ground, that's okay. You can do it with your feet on a slightly elevated surface. Or if you have someone that feels comfortable spotting you and you feel comfortable with them spotting you, you can have someone spot you and I can show you how to do that. So Jess is going to turn around because you want the leg you kick with to be closest to the spotter. So you're going to push up into your bridge, and the leg you kick with is going to be on the side closest to the spotter. You're going to have one hand on their back, preferably their lower back, and one hand on their leg, around the knee area, but more on the thigh. And then she's gonna kick over, and you're gonna help her leg over and help her back over, and she's gonna land in a nice sturdy lunge with her arms glued to her ears, her knees super tight, her legs bent, and this leg straight. Awesome. You can do those as many times as you need and as many times until you feel comfortable doing that. If that's all you wanna work on, that's totally fine. The next step is to do a back bend kickover. You're gonna start by standing, your arms by your ears. Your legs are gonna be about hip width distance apart. If you want them to be a little bit further apart, that's okay too. We just don't want them glued together, and we don't want them like monster legs. Okay, so you're gonna start with your arms by your ears, like Coach Dessa says. And the most important part of this is you want to start the back bend at your hands and then your head, and then your back. We don't want any noodles where you stick your hips forward and you kind of fall backwards. You really want to be super tight in the core and making sure you're squeezing your butt as tight as you can. Dessa's going to do her back bend, and she's going to start from her hands and then her head and then her back. So she's going to lean back and back bend, landing super nice. Again, squeezing in her core, squeezing her butt, and then she's going to come down. That's just the basic back bend, and then we're going to do another one, and we're going to do the kick over. Again, super important. We want to be squeezing our butt, we want to be squeezing our stomach, and we want to have our arms glued to our ears. We want to start the back bend from our hands and then our head. We don't want to be pushing our hips forward. So she's going to do the back bend, and then she's going to bring that leg forward and straight, and then she's going to kick over and land in that nice sturdy lunge. Awesome. So if you want someone to spot you for any of that, you can. In order to spot a back bend, all you have to do is hold this person's lower back, and she just leans back. All you have to do is support that weight right there. And so you're kind of going to push out. Good job. That's how a spotter can do it. And then for the kick over after the back bend, it's the same spotting technique as I showed you earlier. So those are some really good ones before the back walkover. Again, any elevated, you can do all of those on any elevated surface except the back bend. Once you start doing back bends, you're going to want your feet on the ground. So make sure you don't move on until you're fully comfortable on doing a back bend on the flat ground, but you can do it with a spot if you need a little bit of a modified version. The back walkover is really similar to the back bend kick over, but you start with one leg in front. A common mistake a lot of people do is when they start to do their back walkover, they put a lot of weight in that foot and kind of have their hips push forward, and it makes them feel safer. But as you can see, our hands are actually in front of us, so that's not the position we want to be hitting the ground. Again, just like the back bend, you want to start from your hands, and then your head, and lean back, making sure you're not putting all your weight in your front foot. Most of it should actually be in your back foot. Coach Dessa is going to demonstrate. Ours are going to be by your ears. She has very minimal weight in her front foot. If you want to challenge, you actually don't have to put any weight in your front foot. You can start with it slightly off the ground, but she's not going to do it this time. If you want someone to spot you, again, hand on the lower back, and you want someone to spot the thigh right here. So, good. That was an awesome back walkover. Thank you, Coach Dessa. You want to make sure that your front leg comes up at the same time as your hands are going back. Another common issue that a lot of people have is they keep this foot placed on the ground because so much weight's in it. And so they're already halfway to the ground and this foot is still on the ground. And that's not a very good way to get your body moving. So you really want to focus on having this leg come up as you're leaning backwards. So we're going to do one more, except she's going to do it without a spot. Good. Landing in that nice tight lunge. Awesome. Those are some really basic drills that you can do for the back walkover and slowly work your way up. That was our back walkover. Again, making sure we start back walkover from our hands and don't put too much weight in this foot. If you have someone that's capable of spotting, that's super helpful. If not, all those drills you can modify and you can find a place to elevate yourself. Even using stairs are a really good way to get your feet up higher than your hands, which makes it easier to kick over. Through all of those drills, you want to make sure you have really tight arms, really tight legs, again, tight core and a tight butt, because those are what's going to keep you nice and sturdy and prevent you from falling. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new. If you want to look at the other videos on our YouTube channels, there's a variety of skills for different skill levels. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed.